Welcome back to Silverstone, and this time to Club Corner, the final corner and an important one to gain you speed down the Hamilton straight, so let's dive right into turn 18. It's a fairly simple corner to get right, but it's also an easy one to get wrong. It's the last corner on the track, so a bad exit already compromises the upcoming lap, so it's one you've got to take correctly and take flat out. We'll take a look at the racing line and how to correctly utilise the curbs here, as well as some easy mistakes you might be making and losing time. And as always, we'll tie it up with the key points for making the most of this right-hander. Now, Club is such a fast corner, it'll be best to go through it in slow motion first so we can understand what's going on here. So as we exit Vale, we're using some of the main curb on the outside to set us up for a flatter entry into Club. We're going to come across the track and we're going to want to widen the corner as much as possible, so using all the inside curb but definitely avoiding the sausage curb. And then we're going to go run all the way onto the exit curb to carry as much speed as possible onto the Hamilton straight. So if we watch that one back at full speed, we can see that we're coming out of Vale using some of the outside curb but not all of it so we don't get dragged out. Coming in for a flat out entry into Vale using the inside curb, not the sausage curb, and then running out wide to carry all the speed down the straight. So now that we know how to take the corner, let's look at how not to take the corner with some of the common mistakes you might be making. One mistake we often see is just turning in too late. This is an easy mistake as you might be struggling with traction coming out from turn 17, but you just end up losing time coming onto the straight. The best way to avoid this is to straighten up the wheel slightly before the corner to gain some traction, however don't let it compromise the line into Club. Similarly, however, another easy mistake we see is turning in too early. The issue here is that you're going to end up with more steering angle than you need to on the exit, so the trick is to find the right place to turn in and gradually open up the wheel on the exit to carry the most speed. Another mistake that I'm sure we've all made is just hitting the inside sausage curb. It's just so easy to do because you're pushing the limits of the car, but it's definitely a mistake you should try to avoid. Like many of the corners here at Silverstone, there's an absolute apartment block parked on this corner, and it'll probably just make you spin, so the best thing to do is just avoid it at all costs. And finally, a much more subtle but a very impactful mistake we see is just correcting your steering mistakes too much coming out of the corner. Remember, this corner is all about gradually opening up the wheel and applying even more power to speed down the straight, and if you're correcting mistakes well down to the pits, you'll just be scrubbing off unnecessary speed, and that might even leave you vulnerable to a turn 1 overtake. So now we see, it's a simple corner, but there's plenty of things that could go wrong. So let's summarise with the key points. Firstly, let's remember that this corner is all about scrubbing off as little speed as possible to save you the most time down the straight. So take the advice and focus on really nailing the line here and don't overcorrect things. Secondly, remember that there's a big nasty sausage curb on this corner, so it's best to avoid it as either it'll make you spin or you'll just end up losing a bunch of time, making you especially vulnerable to an overtake. And the final key point is to remember to utilise all the track available. There's a big long flat curb on the exit here, so depending on the car and series you're racing in, make the most of it. Some road cars will really benefit from using it, but in an F1 car it's not quite as necessary as the car has the natural downforce to be able to take a much tighter line.